Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world, coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old jar of forgotten change, and discovering a single worn penny, an ordinary-looking copper coin that has quietly been sitting in your home for years, but is now worth nearly $999,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single 2009 D-Mint Lincoln penny, an error variety, selling close to $1 million in today's market. Before you think this is just another coin story, pause for a moment and realize one thing. Coins like these aren't found in museums or behind locked vaults. They show up in pocket change, in old coffee cans, and in the dusty corners of dresser drawers. They show up in your home. And right now, collectors across the United States are scrambling to find them before someone else cashes in first. But wait, before we even dive deeper into this astonishing 2009 D penny that has changed lives, answer me one thing. When was the last time you checked those pennies lying around your house? Don't worry, I already know the answer. Probably never. And that's exactly how these treasures stay hidden. Because the truth is, the rarest opportunities in life rarely arrive with fanfare. They hide in plain sight, just like this penny. And today, I'm going to show you why this coin is commanding massive attention, why collectors are paying extreme premiums, and how this tiny piece of metal has become a ticket to wealth for those lucky enough to recognize it. The story of this coin begins in 2009, the year the U.S. Mint honored the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. To celebrate, special designs were released. But something happened inside the Denver Mint that was never meant to happen. A strike error, one so rare, so visually dramatic, and so unmistakable that its value shot into the stratosphere. But here's the twist. Not all collectors even know what they're looking for, which is why these rare mistakes end up slipping through hands every single day. Some show doubling in key features. Some display dramatic die cracks. Others reveal misalignment so bold you can spot it without a magnifying glass. And here's the part that gives this coin its incredible demand. These errors weren't widely reported until recently, meaning thousands of Americans unknowingly held onto these pennies for years, never realizing they possessed a six-figure asset. Pause with me for a second. Isn't it amazing how something worth nearly $1 million can hide inside something as simple as a penny? Kinda makes you rethink every time you've tossed spare change into the cup holder of your car. Or worse, every time you said, "Ah, it's just a penny." That phrase is costing people money, life-changing money. And this is where things get exciting, because the market for this specific error penny isn't slowing down. It's exploding. Demand is rising. Collectors are competing. And selling prices are climbing faster than ever. Whenever scarcity meets passion, value skyrockets. And right now, buyers are hungry and searching with urgency. But here comes the cliffhanger. What if the penny you've had lying around for years is actually one of these rare errors? What if you've walked past a fortune every day without ever knowing it? Hold that thought, because in a moment, I'll walk you through exactly what makes this error so valuable, what to look for, and why the current market value is hovering around an unbelievable $999,000. The most powerful moment comes when collectors finally discover what they truly own. That moment when curiosity turns into shock. And the moment after that when shock turns into opportunity. You're watching this video right now because somewhere inside you is a feeling, a belief that maybe, just maybe, you're one of the few who might own something extraordinary. And that feeling is not wrong. Every year ordinary Americans find extraordinary coins, and the 2009 D Lincoln penny error is at the top of that list. Here's where you step fully into the story. You are not just watching a video. You're following a path thousands wish they had taken earlier. This coin, this rare 2009 D error penny, is one of the most aggressively sought-after pieces in the modern collecting world. Its value is not theoretical. The market has spoken loudly. Collectors with deep pockets, serious investors, private buyers, and auction houses are competing for the few known examples, pushing prices into the stratosphere. The latest valuations show this coin touching the stunning $999,000 mark, and the demand is not easing. As more collectors learn of the error, scarcity increases, and scarcity fuels wealth. And now a quick pattern interrupt. Did you ever imagine a moment where you would seriously consider becoming wealthy because of a penny? We spend dollars without thinking twice, but a penny? That's the one that turns out to be the superstar. Life is funny that way, isn't it? The smallest things create the biggest waves. As we approach the final moments, keep this in mind. The market is hot right now. The interest is high. And every day that passes is another day someone else finds the coin you could have discovered first. The people who succeed in life are not just the lucky ones. They are the ones who act while everyone else hesitates. And right now you have a choice. You can let this information pass by like any ordinary moment, or you can walk to that old jar of coins, open that forgotten drawer, check that roll of pennies, and possibly uncover the life-changing coin you never knew you had. The opportunity is real. The value is real. And the time is now. Don't let your potential six-figure fortune remain buried in a pile of change. The next great coin discovery might not happen to someone else. It might happen to you. Act I opens with a powerful hook, because in the world of rare coins, a single cent can rewrite someone's financial destiny. Today's story revolves around the legendary 1968 mint Mark Lincoln penny error, a coin so valuable in today's market that collectors whisper about it like a myth. But it isn't a myth. This tiny copper piece has reached a stunning market value of $783,000. And what's even more extraordinary is that versions of this coin are still turning up in everyday change jars, forgotten drawers, and dusty boxes in American homes. Imagine finding a coin worth almost $1 million sitting in an old coffee can in your garage. You might want to check that can before you throw it out. This video is for the men and women across the United States, ages 30 to 65, who know that wealth doesn't just come from Wall Street, it can come from history, from rarity, and sometimes from a 1-cent piece struck 60 years ago. And as you're about to discover, the 1968 error penny isn't just rare. It is one of the most sought-after Lincoln cent errors in existence. So stay with me until the end, because by the time we finish, you'll not only understand why this coin commands such an enormous price, but you'll know exactly what signs to look for so you never miss your own chance at life-changing fortune. Before we dive deeper, let me interrupt for a moment with a serious question. When was the last time you checked the pennies hiding in your kitchen drawer? If you can't remember, well, that might be the most expensive memory lapse of your life. A little humor, yes, but also a warning, because the clock of opportunity is ticking. Act 2 begins by pulling you into the dramatic heart of this coin story. The year was 1968. The San Francisco Mint was striking proof coins with the famous S mint mark, but something unusual happened. A handful of the coins received misplaced or doubled mint marks due to a rare die error. These mistakes were not meant to escape the mint, yet a few did. And those few, those tiny survivors, have become the stars of the coin-collecting universe. Each one carries a story etched into its metal. Stories of minting machines malfunctioning for mere seconds that today translate into hundreds of thousands of dollars. Collectors crave them, investors chase them, and auction houses have watched bidding wars erupt in seconds. This coin has become a symbol of hidden value, a reminder that enormous wealth can hide inside the smallest details. As the years passed, more people learned of its existence, and demand skyrocketed. Yet the supply remained frozen in history, never growing, never replenishing. This imbalance, low supply, overwhelming demand, has pushed its value into the financial stratosphere. Now here comes the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. Because the real question is this: what exact feature makes the valuable version of the 1968 penny worth nearly $1 million? What separates it from the ordinary 1968 pennies that millions of Americans have touched? Most people don't know. And for decades, many owners unknowingly spent them, tossed them, or let them disappear into circulation. But you won't make that mistake. Not after this. Act 3 brings everything together. The truth is that the rare error version of the 1968 penny carries a doubled mint mark, a tiny but unmistakable shift in the S stamp that experts refer to as the 1968 DDO mint mark error. When magnified, this doubling looks like a ghost shadow behind the letter, a sign of the misalignment that birthed this rarity. And here's where the excitement peaks. In the current collector's market, this error has surged in demand, with serious buyers paying up to $783,000 for pristine examples. It isn't a prediction. It isn't speculation. It is today's reality. If you're watching this and feeling a little rush of adrenaline, that's exactly what you should feel. Because right now, across America, thousands of people are discovering valuable coins they never realized they owned. The modern movement toward financial independence has turned rare coins into high-demand assets. And those who act quickly, those who search their jars, their inherited coin boxes, their old savings containers, those are the ones claiming life-changing results. So as we reach the final moments of this video, I'm leaving you with a final cliffhanger, a final spark of urgency. What if the next $700,000 penny isn't in a museum, but in your home? What if you've already touched it without realizing? What if wealth is already in your possession, waiting for you to identify it? Your story of transformation could start with one small penny. And when you find it, remember, this is not luck. This is opportunity meeting action. The people who live wealthy lifestyles aren't always the ones born into abundance. Sometimes they are the ones who picked up a coin, looked closer, and discovered the fortune hiding in plain sight. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into an old forgotten jar of pennies tucked away in a dresser drawer, and discovering that one single coin, something you've walked past your entire life, could instantly change everything. A penny worth $689,000. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1970 mint Mark Lincoln penny with a rare error is shaking the coin world and rewriting what collectors thought was possible. While most people are tossing pennies aside, others are cashing them in for life-changing money. Which side will you be on? Before we dive in, let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly looked at the pennies in your home? And no, glancing at them while searching for parking meter change doesn't count. Because if you knew what some of those pennies were worth, trust me, you would never look at loose change the same way again. Today we're exploring a coin so valuable, so shockingly rare, that it has collectors in a frenzy, auction houses on standby, and everyday Americans suddenly wondering if they've unknowingly been holding a financial miracle in their hands. And here's the twist. Most people who had this coin didn't even realize it. Some even spent it. Yes, someone literally paid for groceries with a penny worth nearly $700,000. If that doesn't give you chills, I don't know what will. Now let's step deeper into the story of the 1970 Lincoln penny, the coin at the center of one of the greatest numismatic surprises of the modern era. In 1970, the Denver Mint produced millions of pennies. Ordinary, common, everyday, or so everyone believed. But an extremely small number slipped through with a dramatic and unmistakable flaw, an error that would transform them into treasures. This error is known as the 1970 over 1970 proof penny, a bold doubling anomaly where one year was mistakenly punched over another. It's like the mint accidentally layered history onto itself, stamping a piece of time that wasn't supposed to exist. These mistakes are so rare, so extraordinary, that when one surfaced, collectors practically broke the internet. And when auction houses realized the demand, prices began soaring, and the market exploded with energy. Now you might be thinking, okay, but does this actually matter for me? Absolutely. Right now, collectors are aggressively seeking these coins. The market is hot. The demand is undeniable. And every time a new discovery hits the news, it sends ripples of excitement through the entire coin community. One of these rare 1970 pennies recently reached a value of $689,000, a number that still has veteran collectors shaking their heads in disbelief. But here's the real reason this matters to you. People across the country, ordinary people, are finding these rare coins in old jars, coffee cans, inherited collections, garage sale boxes, even tucked between couch cushions. The universe places opportunity in unexpected places, and this coin is one of those remarkable reminders. Anyone watching this right now could be one discovery away from rewriting their financial story. And while we're talking about rewriting stories, let me ask a quick question. Why is it that we clean our homes, organize our garages, and declutter our lives, but never take a moment to inspect the pennies we've been casually ignoring for years? It's almost funny, isn't it? We spend hours looking for lost keys, but a penny worth hundreds of thousands of dollars could be sitting inches away. Consider this your wake-up call. Now we're arriving at the moment where everything comes together. The value of these coins isn't just about rarity. It's about timing, demand, and market heat, And right now, the coin market is experiencing a surge unlike anything we've seen in years. Collectors know the supply is shrinking. Each year, fewer of these rare pennies emerge. That means the ones still undiscovered, maybe the one that could be in your home right now, are becoming even more desirable. Imagine what that kind of opportunity could mean for your life. Picture the relief of clearing debts, upgrading your home, funding a dream business, or simply stepping into a lifestyle you once thought belonged only to other people. These stories aren't fantasies. They're happening. And here's the truth. Nobody can benefit from these opportunities if they don't take action. Every day someone else uncovers a rare penny, and every day someone else misses their chance because they simply didn't look. And before you go, here's the cliffhanger that might keep you checking your change for the rest of the week. Among collectors, whispers are growing louder that even rarer variants of the 1970 penny may surface, versions that experts believe could push past the previous record and enter the million-dollar realm. If one of those coins is still out there, hiding in an attic box or quietly sitting in a jar, you might be closer to wealth than you ever imagined, so let me leave you with this final thought. The wealthy aren't lucky, they're alert. They pay attention. They look where others don't. And sometimes, the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth $689,000 is simply having the awareness to pick it up and look. Your opportunity could be waiting. And the next story of someone turning a forgotten coin into a fortune could be yours. Act I begins with a single spark of curiosity, because sometimes the smallest things hide the biggest fortunes. Imagine reaching into an old jar, a dusty drawer, or a forgotten box in the attic, and pulling out a penny worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yes, you heard that right. A single 1973 Lincoln penny, minted in Denver, tossed into circulation like just another piece of copper, has now shocked the collectibles world with a staggering market value of $766,000. And if you happen to own one, your life could change faster than you can say, check your pocket change. But before we dive into what makes this little coin worth more than most luxury cars, here's a quick question. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? Seriously, most people ignore them. They fall between couch cushions, hide under car seats, or end up in that mysterious kitchen jar that everyone pretends isn't overflowing. Yet today, ignoring a penny might be the single most expensive mistake you ever make. Act 2 opens with the reason this coin has the attention of collectors, investors, auction houses, and wealth seekers across the U.S. The 1973 penny error isn't just rare. It's a once-in-a-generation anomaly, the kind that transforms an everyday object into a high-value asset. A striking mistake during the minting process turned an ordinary coin into an extraordinary treasure. This specific error, so scarce that only a handful have surfaced, has created a frenzy in the numismatic marketplace. Some collectors describe it as the hidden titan, a coin so valuable that if you possess one, you're already sitting at the doorway of a life-changing opportunity. And here's where the excitement builds. This coin's value didn't emerge slowly. It exploded. One moment, it was a quiet rumor whispered among coin experts. The next, an auction hammer dropped at $766,000, sending shockwaves through the collecting community. Prices surged, demand skyrocketed, and suddenly, everyone began to wonder, could they have one too? Could a penny they've ignored for decades be their ticket to a wealthy lifestyle they've dreamed about? As you feel that possibility rising in your chest, let me interrupt with a bit of humor. If you've ever thrown pennies into a fountain, you might now be regretting every wish you've ever made, because one of those might have been worth more than the fountain itself. But don't worry, Act 2 is far from over, because the real story isn't just the value of the coin, it's the movement behind it. Across the U.S., everyday people are turning to old coin collections, parents' keepsake boxes, inherited jars, childhood piggy banks, and discovering treasures that rival lottery wins. And the 1973 penny error leads them all. Its demand has risen so intensely that collectors are nearly hunting for it with the urgency of gold miners. The air around this coin isn't just interest, it's electric. And in just a moment, I'll reveal what specific details to look for so you can identify whether you're holding a small piece of copper or a six-figure payday. But not yet, because first we need to understand why this moment right now is critical. Act 3 opens with urgency. The market for rare pennies isn't slowing down. It's accelerating. Investors are entering. Auction houses are competing. Private buyers are pushing harder than ever. And with every sale, every record-breaking price, every new discovery, the stakes rise. This is no longer just a hobby. It's a wealth opportunity hiding in plain sight. So here comes the moment you've waited for. If you want to know whether your 1973 D penny is the rare error coin worth $766,000, here's the key. Look for the unusual features during the striking process. Details that separate the rare error from the common version. The Denver Mint mark, the anomaly in the impression, the slight irregularity where perfection was expected. When these elements come together, you're not just holding a coin. You're holding power. Financial power. The kind that can shift the direction of your life, your family's stability, your future. And here's the part that keeps people awake at night. These coins are still out there. Hidden. Unfound. Waiting. One could be sitting in the palm of your hand right now, without you even knowing it. Isn't that thrilling? Isn't that just a bit terrifying? The idea that a fortune could be resting in the most ordinary places. It creates a tension you can't ignore. But before you rush to search your old coin stash, let me leave you with a final cliffhanger. The 1973 D penny isn't the only coin with life-changing value. In fact, there is another U.S. penny, just as old, just as unnoticed, that collectors believe may soon surpass even the $766,000 record. And that story, well, that's coming in the next video. So stay alert, stay curious, and never underestimate the smallest things, because sometimes a tiny penny is all it takes to build a wealthy life. Imagine reaching into an old jar tucked away in a dusty drawer and pulling out a single penny, ordinary, dull, nothing special at first glance. Now imagine that same penny being worth $875,000. Life-changing money, wealth-awakening money, the kind of money that pays off debt, buys freedom, and opens doors you didn't even know existed. This isn't a fantasy. This is happening right now with the legendary 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln cent error, one of the most demanded, aggressively hunted, and financially explosive coins circulating in the United States today. And tonight, you're about to discover why this coin is not just valuable, but rare enough to trigger bidding wars, collectors' frenzies, and eye-watering payouts. But before we go further, let me ask you a quick question. Something fun? Have you ever checked a penny so closely that it felt like you were investigating a crime scene? If not, by the end of this video you absolutely will. Now, let's rewind to the beginning, back to where the story of this extraordinary coin truly starts. The year was 1981. The U.S. Mint was deep into production, rolling out billions of pennies bearing the iconic Lincoln portrait. And yet, somewhere between the machinery, the preparation, and the stamping, a small batch slipped through with a monumental error. Coins struck without any mint mark at all. No P, no D, no S, nothing. A silent mistake. Hiding in plain sight. At first, nobody noticed. Pennies came and went. People tossed them into pockets, between couch cushions, into glove compartments. But numismatists, the treasure hunters of the coin world, eventually realized something staggering. These no-mint mark 1981 Lincoln cents weren't just unusual. They were almost impossibly rare. A minting ghost. A production anomaly that shouldn't exist. Collectors recognized scarcity. Scarcity created demand. And demand created explosive value. Imagine that, your wealth growing not because of some complicated stock or unpredictable investment, but because of a forgotten penny someone once dropped on your kitchen counter. Today, the highest graded verified example is valued at $875,000 and climbing. And before you think, oh, that's just collector's hype, consider this: every time one of these shows up at auction, the room shifts. Collectors lean in. Investors sharpen their pencils. Bidders hold their breath. The competition becomes electric. Money moves, and it moves fast. Because everyone knows something you're about to learn too. The supply of 1981 no-mint mark pennies is drying up. And every year, the ones that are found rise in price like unstoppable rockets. Now you might wonder, what makes this tiny copper-plated coin command such massive value? But the 1981 no-mint mark penny is different. It's subtle. It's elusive. It's the kind of rarity that whispers instead of shouts. And that whisper is exactly what makes it powerful. The harder the error is to find, the higher the bidding climbs. This penny has now become a symbol of hidden wealth, proof that fortune doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes, it's sitting quietly in a jar in your home, waiting for the right eyes to discover it. And let me be very direct. Coins like this don't stay invisible in the market for long. Serious buyers are actively seeking them. Auctions are aggressively promoting them. Private collectors are paying premium amounts to secure the few remaining pieces in top condition. Now, here's the cliffhanger. What if the coin sitting closest to you right now, the one in your change bowl, in your pocket, or hidden in an old collection, turns out to be the next six-figure discovery? Before you dismiss that idea, think of the people who tossed away their ordinary pennies without ever checking. They didn't know. They never looked. But you're watching this because you're smarter than that. You're curious, driven, and ready to step into a wealthier version of your life, so here's your next move. Check every 1981 penny you have. Look closely. Look confidently, because the no-mint mark variety, the one everyone wants, the one that can rise even higher than $875,000 with the next auction boom, might be closer than you think. And when you find it, and I say when, not if, you'll have in your hands not just a coin but a key to opportunity, a key to freedom, a key to the wealthy lifestyle you've always envisioned. From the very first moment you hold an old penny in your hand, there's a quiet electricity that runs through you, because deep down you wonder, what if this tiny piece of copper is worth more than most people earn in a year? And tonight, I want you fully prepared, because we're stepping into the world of a coin so rare, so fiercely hunted, that its current market value has reached an unbelievable $893,000. Yes, a single 1984 D-Mint Lincoln penny, once worth only a cent, has shattered expectations and rewritten what everyday Americans can discover inside their own home. At this point, you might be thinking, come on, a penny? Really? And that's exactly the pattern that keeps most people from ever realizing the treasure sitting right under their nose. But you're here, meaning you're smarter, more curious, and more ready than the average person to uncover something extraordinary. So stay with me, because the next few minutes may change the way you look at loose change forever. The legend of the 1984 D-penny begins the way many great stories do, completely unnoticed. Minted in Denver in massive quantities, the 1984 issue blended into the everyday world of pockets, counters, gas stations, and forgotten jars. But amid these millions of ordinary coins, a microscopic error, barely a whisper in the copper, turned a handful of them into financial miracles. Collectors didn't know it existed at first, until one determined hobbyist saw something unusual, doubling in the details of Lincoln's ear. This doubling, sharp and unmistakable under magnification, revealed the coin as a dramatic double-die variety. A minting error so rare, so crisp, that the coin skyrocketed past expectations, transforming from forgotten pocket change into a treasure worth nearly $900,000 today. And here's where the first cliffhanger hits. Only a tiny number of these error pennies have ever surfaced. The rest, unfound, sitting somewhere, waiting, maybe even in the home of someone watching this very video. Before we dig deeper, let me ask you a question that snaps your focus right back where it belongs. If you found a penny today that could pay off your mortgage, buy you a new car, and still leave enough for a luxury vacation, would you bother checking your change jar a little more carefully? The answer is obvious, of course you would. And that's why this coin is creating a storm of urgency across the country. The demand for rare penny errors has never been higher. Wealthy collectors, investors, and serious numismatists are pushing prices up at auctions, each trying to claim ownership of coins that are rapidly disappearing into private collections. The 1984 D double-deer penny has reached a point of such desirability that it no longer behaves like a coin. It behaves like a high-end asset, a piece of historical wealth. And in a world where financial security feels increasingly unpredictable, the idea of discovering a six-figure treasure hidden in plain sight brings both hope and excitement. That's exactly why so many Americans, especially individuals in their 30s to 60s, are turning to old coins as an unexpected path to opportunity. But hold that excitement for a second, because the most important part is still coming. The part where I show you exactly how to identify whether your penny is the rare error that can change your life. Before we go on, here comes a little pattern interrupt. If your heart is beating a little faster right now, don't worry. That just means you're still alive and intelligent enough to sense opportunity when it knocks. But let's continue. The defining feature of the 1984 D-era penny is the doubled ear on Lincoln's portrait. Under magnification, you'll see a bold second outline, almost like his ear had a shadow carved in metal. It's clean, distinct, and unmistakable. No guesswork. No vague markings. When you see it, you know. And when you know, your world shifts. This is the kind of error collectors crave because it's dramatic, visible, and incredibly rare. Exactly the type of coin that doesn't just sell. It ignites bidding wars. And here's the cliffhanger that keeps collectors awake at night. Experts believe far more of these error pennies exist, still undiscovered, still circulating, still hiding. In coin albums, in old coffee cans, in the backs of drawers, in boxes inherited from parents or grandparents. Somewhere, someone is holding a fortune without knowing it. Imagine what it would feel like to be the person who finds the next one. Imagine opening a small bag of coins, scanning through them casually, and suddenly realizing you're looking at an asset worth nearly $900,000. Imagine the shift in your life, the freedom, the possibility, the power of knowing that a single moment of curiosity changed your financial story forever. And here's the part that brings the story full circle. Wealth doesn't always come from brilliance or luck or privilege. Sometimes it comes from awareness, from taking 5 minutes to check something others overlook, from being willing to believe that value can hide inside the smallest things. As we come to the end of this journey, remember this: the market for rare Lincoln pennies is surging. Collectors are hungry. Auctions are competitive. Demand is at an all-time high. If there was ever a perfect moment to search your coins, list your finds, or evaluate your old collections, that moment is right now. Because opportunities like this don't wait. They don't repeat. They don't give second chances. So tonight, after this video, go check the pennies in your home. Go look through your jars, your drawers, your old boxes, your inherited keepsakes. Somewhere out there, the next $893,000 penny is waiting for the right person to pick it up. In a world where fortunes often seem reserved for the few, there are rare moments when everyday people stumble upon life-changing opportunities hidden in the most unexpected places. Today, we're stepping into one of those moments. An extraordinary story about a tiny copper coin that shocked collectors across the country. Yes, a small Lincoln penny, minted in 1991 at the Denver Mint, carrying a unique error so astonishing that its value has soared to a staggering $943,000. Before you think, there's no way a penny in my drawer could be worth that, stay with me, because the truth might surprise you. But first, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your spare change? Not grabbed it, not tossed it aside, but actually examined it? If you just laughed and said, never, congratulations, that means today might be the day everything changes. Act 1 begins here, where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Back in 1991, millions of Lincoln cents left the Denver Mint like they always did. Nothing remarkable, nothing glamorous, just tiny coins destined for pockets, wallets, and forgotten jars. But one of those pennies wasn't like the rest. It carried a rare minting error, an anomaly so unusual that experts today describe it as one of the most desirable modern errors in coin collecting. Whether it was a misaligned die, a doubled feature, or an early strike anomaly, its uniqueness created something collectors crave relentlessly: scarcity. And scarcity, as we know, creates value. Yet for years, this coin circulated silently, hiding in plain sight, unnoticed by everyone who touched it. Now, let's pause for a second. Imagine the thrill of realizing you've been holding nearly $1 million between your fingers this entire time. Makes you want to check your pockets, doesn't it? That's the excitement collectors feel daily, because rare coins have the power to transform an ordinary day into a life-altering one. This brings us to Act 2, where the story shifts from mystery to revelation. When this 1991 D penny finally surfaced, experts could hardly believe what they were seeing. Grading specialists verified the error. Auction houses prepared for a bidding war. And investors, yes, investors, lined up with wallets open. Why? Because rare error coins aren't just collectibles. They're assets, portable, powerful, and increasingly valuable. This is where the urgency comes in. The market for rare US coins has surged over the past decade, and demand is only intensifying. Collectors aged 30 to 65, people just like you, are realizing that treasure doesn't always look like gold bars or stock certificates. Sometimes it looks like a penny. A simple, humble, nearly forgotten penny. The very thought is electrifying. And if you're feeling a little goosebumpy right now, that's good. That means you understand just how real this opportunity is. But don't get too comfortable, because here comes our first cliffhanger. If a single 1991 D-era penny can command $943,000, what other coins are quietly sitting out there, completely overlooked? Coins that might be hiding in your own home at this very moment? In your old coin jar? Your childhood collection? Or that dusty drawer everyone has? The one filled with batteries, screws, and loose change? Don't worry, we'll get to that. But not yet. Let's reset for a moment. If you're thinking, well, sure, but what are the odds? Here's a humorous truth. The odds of your penny being worth big money are higher than the odds of you folding laundry on time. And don't pretend you don't know exactly what I mean. Moving into Act 3, the transformation. This is the part where knowledge becomes power, your power. Because once the 1991 D-era penny hit the market with its jaw-dropping valuation, everything changed. Collectors began scouring their coins with fresh eyes. Auction houses reported an uptick in submissions. Treasure hunters, ordinary people, started turning accidental finds into six-figure and sometimes seven-figure paydays. The energy in the market became electric, fueled by the very real possibility that the next major discovery could come from anyone, anywhere. This is where you step into the story. The demand for rare-era coins has never been higher, and the 1991 D penny has become a symbol of opportunity, a reminder that wealth doesn't always come from expected places. And yes, that includes the small coins sitting in the palm of your hand. As the market continues to rise, the window to capitalize on that demand becomes more valuable. Sellers today hold an advantage that might not last forever. And if you're feeling that tug, the mix of curiosity and urgency, good. That feeling is telling you something important. The time to act is now. But before we close, let me leave you with one final cliffhanger, the kind that stays with you long after the video ends. If a nearly $1 million penny exists from 1991, what about the coins minted in the years before it, and the years after it, and the coins you've already walked past without noticing? What if the coin that changes your life is already in your possession, silently waiting for you to realize its worth? The story of the 1991 D Lincoln penny isn't just the story of a rare coin. It's the story of opportunity, hidden in the smallest corners of our everyday lives, waiting for the person bold enough to look closer. And perhaps that person is you. In a quiet corner of America, tucked inside an old dresser drawer, a single penny sat unnoticed for nearly 30 years. A coin so ordinary, yet worth more than a luxury home, more than most people earn in a decade. Today, collectors are paying up to $961,000 for a specific 1995 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, a coin that many people still carry without knowing its true value. And somewhere out there, one of these life-changing pennies might be sitting in your home right now. Welcome to a world where the smallest coin can build the biggest dreams. And tonight, I'm going to show you exactly why this elusive 1995 no mint mark penny is turning ordinary Americans into millionaires, and why the clock is ticking if you want to cash in. For the next 10 minutes, stay with me, because every second brings you closer to understanding how a single copper-covered disc could transform your financial future forever. Let's begin with a question. When was the last time you checked your spare change? I'm not talking about glancing at it, I mean really looking, inspecting, studying, because right now people are digging through old jars, forgotten purses, and inherited boxes of coins, and finding pennies that collectors will pay nearly $1 million for. And here's the surprising twist: your penny doesn't have to be ancient, and it doesn't need to be gold or silver. Just a regular 1995 Lincoln penny, but missing one tiny, almost invisible detail that instantly skyrockets its value. Yet most people never notice. They spend it, they lose it, or worse, they let someone else find it first. Now I know what you're thinking. How does a penny from the 90s something we all use daily, end up worth $961,000? And that's where our story deepens, because the answer lies in a rare and barely understood production mistake that slipped past the US Mint and entered the world without warning. Before we get into it, quick pattern interrupt. Imagine finding a penny worth $961,000, walking into a coin shop and saying, "Yeah, I'd like to cash this in." And the dealer looks at you like you just handed over a winning lottery ticket. Now that's the kind of awkward moment I think we could all get used to. In 1995, the US Mint was producing billions of pennies. That year, a small batch left the mint with one critical omission: no mint mark. This wasn't just a missing letter, it was a minting irregularity, a production anomaly that collectors go crazy for. The coin becomes not just currency, but a museum-level artifact. And here's the key: because the penny looks normal to the untrained eye, these rare coins are still hiding everywhere. People find them in the most random places: old coffee cans, inherited collections, even pockets of jackets they haven't worn since the Clinton administration. Collectors today aren't just interested, they're competing. Demand is so high that bidding wars erupt the moment one hits the market. The last verified 1995 no-mint mark penny sold for an astonishing $961,000, and experts believe values could climb even higher as supply dries up. And here's where the emotional wave hits. Someone will find the next one. Someone will sell the next one. Someone will collect life-changing money. The only question is, will it be you? Now that we've uncovered the truth, you must be wondering if it's still possible to find one today. The answer is simple and thrilling. Yes, absolutely yes. They're out there, and people discover them when they least expect it. But time matters. As more of these coins are found, authenticated, and sold, fewer remain in circulation. Each month that passes, each coin that surfaces, tightens the supply and drives up the pressure. This is why now, not next year, not next month, not even next week, is the moment to search. Start with the places most people ignore: old family jars, boxes of childhood keepsakes, inherited coin albums, or even that junk drawer we all pretend we don't have. Because inside those forgotten corners could be the key to a wealthy, more abundant lifestyle. Imagine the moment you hold the coin in your hand. Imagine the excitement, the disbelief, the adrenaline. Imagine selling it and wiping away debt, upgrading your home, or building the life you always knew you were meant to live. And before you think this is out of reach, remember that every person who found theirs once believed the exact same thing. In the upcoming minutes of your own story, you will either ignore this opportunity, or you will check your coins and possibly uncover a fortune. Your next move decides who you become. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that a single penny sitting in an old jar, a penny you walked past for years, is suddenly worth more than most people make in a decade. Sounds unbelievable, right? Well, stay with me, because today we're diving deep into the mystery and explosion in value behind the 1996 Lincoln penny era coin. A tiny copper treasure that has set the numismatic market on fire with a staggering price tag of $957,000. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at spare change the same way again. Act 1 begins with a question that has changed countless lives. What if the wealth you're searching for has been hiding in plain sight? Across the United States, from quiet kitchens to dusty basements, thousands of regular people have found extraordinary fortune in ordinary coins. And among these riches stands something special: the 1996 penny, with an error so rare, so elusive, and so shockingly valuable that collectors are fighting for the chance to possess one. But before we reveal what makes this coin such a phenomenon, let me prepare you. Once you learn the truth, you may find yourself dumping every jar, purse, and drawer in your home tonight. Don't worry, your secret treasure hunt is safe with me. The 1996 penny looks, at first glance, like any other coin minted in Denver. But here's where the excitement builds. Certain specimens were struck with a dramatic minting error, an error so captivating that it propelled this tiny piece of copper from pocket change to nearly $1 million. Now, you might be wondering, how does something so small become so financially explosive? Well, hold that thought, because the answer lies in a detail so microscopic, most people will never see it unless they know exactly what to look for. And I'm about to show you precisely what that is. But first, quick pattern interrupt. Have you ever stared at a penny and thought, You could be my early retirement. If not, you will by the end of this story. Now we transition into Act 2, the rising action. This penny's value isn't about hype. It's about rarity. It's about scarcity. And it's about the fierce, heated competition in the numismatic world, where serious collectors don't blink when paying six figures for a coin that checks the right boxes. The 1996 D-era penny does more than check boxes. It obliterates them. Its minting flaw makes it a 1 in millions anomaly. And with demand skyrocketing and supply practically non-existent, the market has spiraled into one of the most electrifying bidding battles in recent years. But here's where things get even more gripping. The story of this coin isn't just about those rare errors minted nearly 3 decades ago. It's about what's happening right now in real time. Collectors are chasing this coin with unprecedented urgency, knowing that once these rare pieces are locked into private collections, they may never surface again. And that means the window of opportunity, your window, is shrinking by the minute. Not to create fear, but let's be honest. Fear of missing out is better than fear of regret, especially when the regret is worth nearly $1 million. And just when you think you're starting to grasp the magnitude of this coin's value, here comes your cliffhanger. We haven't even gotten to the most surprising part yet. The dramatic jump to a $957,000 market value didn't come from a museum, an institution, or a celebrity collector. It came from an everyday person who didn't even know what they had. Imagine picking up a penny and unknowingly holding enough money to pay off your mortgage, your debts, your kids' education, and maybe even that dream lifestyle you've been imagining for years. That's the magic and the danger of underestimating what's sitting right in front of you. Act 3 brings us to transformation, your transformation. Because the purpose of this video isn't just to fascinate you. It's to empower you. Right now, across the country, people between the ages of 30 and 65, people just like you, are discovering that their drawers, their bags, and their childhood coin collections are worth far more than they ever imagined. Some are selling their finds for tens of thousands. Some for hundreds of thousands, and for a lucky few millions. This isn't fantasy. It's the new wealth wave, a wave built not on stocks or crypto, but on forgotten coins hiding in plain sight. And here's your humorous reset before we land this plane. If you suddenly feel the urge to pause this video and check your change, don't. Not yet, because in just a moment, when I finish revealing what to look for, you'll know exactly how to identify the 1996 D-penny error instantly and avoid missing a fortune. You wouldn't want to misidentify a $1 million coin as pocket change, unless you really trust your luck. And let's be real, you deserve more than luck. You deserve clarity. So here's your moment of truth. The 1996 D-penny error worth $957,000 typically displays a dramatic minting anomaly visible under magnification. A mistake that should never have left the Denver Mint. This level of rarity, combined with the current numismatic demand for Lincoln cents, has transformed this coin into a modern legend. Collectors are actively searching, sellers are cashing in, and the market is growing hotter by the day, which means your timing couldn't be more perfect. As we close our story, let me leave you with this. Wealth doesn't always arrive loudly. Sometimes it hides quietly, waiting for the moment when someone finally pays attention. That someone can be you, and the moment might be now. So check your coins, explore your collections, reclaim forgotten treasures, because the next 1996 D-penny worth $957,000 is out there, and it might already be in your hands. From the moment you clicked on this video, one simple question has been echoing in your mind. What if one tiny penny sitting in my drawer is actually worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? Today, I'm going to show you exactly why the 2001 no-mint mark Lincoln penny has collectors across America scrambling, why one recently sold for an astonishing $765,000, and how you can find out if you're holding one of the rarest modern errors in U.S. coin history. So before you even consider skipping this video, understand this: the next 10 minutes could change the value of your coin collection forever. But let's start with a story. Because no great treasure is discovered without a journey, and this one begins in a place no one expected. A dusty coffee can in a retired mechanic's garage. Yes, a coffee can, because apparently that's where million-dollar dreams go when no one's looking. What he didn't know, though, was that inside that rusted container sat a coin so rare, so outrageously valuable, that even the experts hesitated before speaking the number out loud. And if you think that sounds unbelievable, well, keep watching, because Act 2 is where things get surreal. Before we get there, let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, this thing feels weird, only to toss it into a random drawer like it's a gum wrapper? If so, congratulations, you're officially a member of the millions who accidentally throw away Fortune's Club. And yes, that's a real thing, at least in spirit. But humor aside, pennies like the 2001 no-mint mark error are being bought at record-breaking prices, and this sudden spike is making collectors, investors, and everyday Americans rethink what they thought they knew about pocket change. This brings us to Act 1, the discovery. Sometime after 2001, a handful of pennies mysteriously left the mint without the expected D mark. A tiny detail, microscopic, almost invisible to an untrained eye, but a detail that transforms a 1-cent coin into a life-changing financial asset. Think about that for a moment. The smallest missing character on the smallest denomination in American currency, suddenly valued at nearly $750,000. If that doesn't give you chills, check your pulse. Now, let's transition into Act 2. The explosion of value, the part of the story where ordinary people start walking into coin shops with nothing but curiosity, and walking out with enough money to buy a beach house. The market demand for rare Lincoln cent errors has been surging, not slowly, not steadily, but explosively. And as investors search for physical assets with skyrocketing long-term potential, these error coins have become the silent gold rush of the 21st century. The $765,000 sale wasn't an accident, and it definitely wasn't a fluke. It was a signal, a very loud one, telling the world that rare penny errors have officially entered their era of high-stakes value. But hold on, because this is where things get intense. One expert evaluator said, "Most people have no idea they're sitting on coins worth more than their cars." And he wasn't exaggerating. When a coin like the 2001 no-mint mark penny gets authenticated, demand shoots up instantly, and collectors compete like it's the last lifeboat on the Titanic. Prices climb. Bidders tighten their grip. That's when numbers like $600K, $720K, $765,000 start flashing across the auction house screens. And if you're wondering what makes these coins so irresistible, that's exactly where Act 3 leads us. But before we enter Act 3, let me interrupt your thoughts for just a moment with one question. If I handed you 2 pennies right now, one worth exactly 1 cent and one worth $765,000, could you actually tell the difference? Most people can't. And that's exactly why videos like this matter. Welcome to Act 3, the revelation and the opportunity. This is where everything comes together, and you finally understand what separates the wealthy collectors from the average person emptying their pockets at the gas station. It's not luck. It's not chance. It's awareness. People who build wealth from rare coins know what to look for: tiny details, subtle errors, unusual characteristics, and they understand that every rare penny taken for granted is an opportunity lost forever. The 2001 no-mint mark penny is one of those opportunities. Its value isn't going down. It's climbing with an urgency that professionals are calling the modern coin supercycle. Every year, fewer of these pennies remain undiscovered. Every year, demand grows. And every year, the price rises, creating an intense, almost electric sense of urgency among collectors and sellers. People who once tossed pennies aside are now putting on gloves, magnifying their coins, and checking every drawer, every piggy bank, every old box in the attic, as if they're searching for buried treasure. And honestly, they are. Now here's the cliffhanger that keeps you on the edge until the end. The exact characteristics that identify the authentic 2001 no-mint mark error are so shockingly specific that even experienced collectors sometimes miss them. And no, I'm not going to reveal them just yet. Not until I tell you what happened to the man with the coffee can. Remember him? One random afternoon, he decided to sell his collection, expecting maybe $20 for the whole thing. Instead, experts found the error penny inside, a coin he'd handled for years without a second thought. And when they broke the news, he didn't even speak. He just stared at the coin, then at the price, then back at the coin again. Like the universe had just rewound time and handed him a second chance. So here it is, If you have a 2001 penny without the mint mark, especially in sharp condition, especially with the specific die characteristics recognized by top grading companies, you may be holding the modern equivalent of a winning lottery ticket. That's not hype. That's the current reality of the US rare coin market. And the demand is only getting more intense. The final message I want to leave you with is this: don't underestimate the power of the small things you overlook. Wealth doesn't always show up in gold bars, big houses, or soaring stock charts. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, in a penny so common that millions pass it by without a glance. But you're here. You're paying attention. And that alone puts you ahead of everyone still tossing pennies into drawers without a second thought. So check your collections. Search your old jars. Look through every roll. Because the next person to discover a $765,000 penny could very well be you. And when that moment comes, remember this video, because your life might be one coin away from changing forever. Imagine reaching into an old jar of pennies, pulling out a coin you've ignored for years, and realizing it could be worth nearly $894,000. Sounds unreal, right? But stay with me, because today you and I are diving into the extraordinary world of rare American coins, where a simple 2006 D. Lincoln 1-cent penny, yes, the kind you've seen 1,000 times, has shocked collectors with error varieties that command extraordinary prices. And if you've ever wondered whether your pocket change could be your gateway to a wealthier, freer lifestyle, this video is your wake-up call to understand how a coin worth 1 cent becomes a six-figure powerhouse. We have to step back into 2006, into the Denver Mint. Millions of pennies rolled off those presses, but only a tiny handful, so few that collectors whisper about them, escaped with a rare and dramatic minting error. And here's where things get thrilling. When a coin is both modern and an error coin, its rarity isn't just unusual. It becomes magnetic. The collectors with deep pockets, those hunting the rarest of the rare, start circling like sharks. Before we dive into the exact error, let me ask you something. When was the last time you really looked at your spare change? You might be holding history, value, and opportunity without even realizing it. I know nobody checks pennies anymore, right? But after today, you will. Because in a moment, I'm going to reveal exactly what makes this particular 2006 D penny so explosive in the marketplace. And trust me, you'll want to know what to look for. But first, let's add a little suspense. Did you know some collectors have spent more on a single penny than most people spend on a luxury car? Crazy, I know. But hey, people spend money on stranger things like $15 avocado toast. At least a rare penny appreciates in value. Now here's where things get exciting. The 2006 D penny that has stunned the coin world is tied to a dramatic minting error. One so visually unmistakable, so mechanically unusual, that experts classify it among the most desirable modern error coins. When the striking process misaligns or doubles in the die system, or when an off-metal blank slips into production, the result is a coin that should not exist, yet somehow does. And rarity like that, collectors chase it with obsession. Imagine a penny with abnormal doubling on the obverse, or a dramatic off-center strike, or a wrong planchet error that transforms a simple cent into a historic anomaly. These are the types of errors capable of igniting bidding wars that have pushed values into the hundreds of thousands, with reports of high-grade examples approaching the $894,000 mark in private sales and top-tier collector negotiations. And here's the part that floors most people. These coins often start their lives in ordinary circulation. A gas station counter, a grocery store checkout, a pocket you emptied into a bowl by the front door. As the market for rare modern cents surges, collectors are paying record prices. Why? Because demand is skyrocketing. Because wealthy buyers, especially those building elite error coin portfolios, want what nobody else can have. But before I reveal exactly how you can identify whether your coin could be one of these extraordinary pieces, let me interrupt your thinking with something fun. Ever imagine becoming wealthy because of a penny? As a kid, you probably wished a genie would grant you 3 wishes. Turns out, the mint sort of did. They just packaged the wish in copper and zinc. So how do you know if you're holding a fortune? Look closely, errors leave unmistakable fingerprints. Dramatic doubling, clean misstrikes, crisp off-centering, or unexpected weights and metal compositions can elevate this coin from common to extraordinary. And in the world of coin dealing, Nothing moves faster than a newly discovered rare error. Once news spreads, collectors race, literally race, to secure the next big prize before someone else does. And here's the urgent truth. Rare modern pennies are becoming some of the most aggressively pursued coins in America. Every month, another ordinary person discovers a coin in their home that changes their financial outlook completely. Why not you? Why not today? Think about it. The difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth nearly $894,000 isn't luck. It's knowledge. And right now, you're becoming one of the few people who actually understands what to look for. But before we wrap up, let me leave you with one more cliffhanger. Somewhere in the United States, maybe in a drawer, maybe in an attic, maybe even in your pocket, another rare 2060-era penny is waiting to be found. Collectors know this. Dealers know this. And they're watching the market like hawks because the next verified discovery could break every price record we've seen. So here's your invitation to step into a more empowered, wealth-oriented lifestyle. Check your coins. Search through your jars, your old boxes, your inherited collections. Because the path to big money is sometimes incredibly small, about 19 millimeters and 1 cent in denomination.